Yes. Hello, everyone. Friday, August 9th at 10 o'clock on 92.5 WLSD The Vault. You can also listen on WLSDradio.com, 1220 AM. And if you want to join and watch live inside studio, you can go on the Other People's Show, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And thank you all for joining me on this lovely, lovely Friday night. But tonight we're going to dive into I know I teased earlier with some advertisements that we were going to have a guest tonight. Something came up, but he will be back in the future. It's going to be a wonderful guest, Stephen Murray. I'll plug his album really quickly, Rituals. It's going to be coming out soon. I don't think it's out. I actually have an advanced copy. We played a track a couple weeks back, but yeah, he will be on very soon in the future. But tonight, we're going to be diving into a movie called Love Lies Bleeding. And it's a movie that I had heard of. It came out, I think, about 6 months back. And it's a small, little independent film about a gym manager who falls for one of the someone that's working out. So a gym manager, Lou, falls for Jackie, a bodybuilder who is passing through town en route to a competition in Las Vegas. And I know just from the premise you might be thinking, well, this doesn't sound like anything out of the ordinary. This seems like a straightforward movie. And in some regards, I guess you could say it is. But in others, not so much. Not so much at all. And we're going to dive into that a little bit tonight. It's it's streaming now on HBO Max or Max. And it was in the top 10 a couple weeks. So yeah, you can easily, if you have Max, you can access this movie. But the movie, like I said, it's about a bodybuilder. It takes place in Las Vegas for the most part. It is by director Rose Glass. Now, I wasn't really familiar with any of Rose Glass's work. I'd heard of her name just because I'm a cinephile and I know about, upcoming movies and some of the directors and screenwriters and such. But I did not know any of her other films. Mainly Saint Maud and A Moment of Horror. So I wasn't familiar with her work. This is her third feature. Love Lies Bleeding. So yeah. But this does have a cast of characters and actors and actresses that you do know. Kristen Stewart from Twilight. Obviously, she's Lou. Katie O'Brien plays Jackie, the bodybuilder. Jenna Malone from Donnie Darko. I think she's also in Saved. Is Beth. And Dave Franco, younger brother of James Franco, plays JJ. You also had Ed Harris, who plays Kristen Stewart's father in the movie. And he's looking, I don't want to sound ageist or anything like that at all, because I'm not. Although I do have a fear of getting older and aging. But that's neither here nor there. That's on the Other People's Show. But Ed Harris is looking a little long in the tooth. And he does have to be in his 80s, I would imagine, at this point. I think one of Ed Harris's, Milk Money, he was in The Rock. He played a fantastic part in The Rock. Apollo 13. So Ed Harris has made these, movies throughout probably all the listeners' lifetime, to be honest with you. Because he's a staple from a young age, I remember him. And I remember seeing him in the movie trailer for Milk Money with Melanie Griffith. These little kids gather up some money and they try to go hire her because she's a prostitute to, I guess, comfort Ed Harris's character, because I think his wife has died or left and he's lonely. They end up falling in love. But it was always a memory that I had as a kid. And it was before I even knew really who Ed Harris or Melanie Griffith or any of these actors or actresses were. It was just when I saw people on screen and I knew they were doing a job. I knew they were these characters. I knew they were, playing pretend on the big screen. And I'm trying, really thinking back. When was the last time, or when was the first time you actually remember a certain actor or actress knowing their name? Like, I think Harrison Ford might have been one of the first times for me. Probably with, I would probably honestly say Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was my first introduction to Harrison Ford, and then Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then as in Return of the Jedi. So somewhere in that combination, but I knew then that's what I wanted to try to do, and that was an actor named Harrison Ford, and he was these great characters. But back to this movie, let's get into a few facts. We've got Ed Harris originally wore very long extensions in this movie as a joke. Well, to the audition. Or not really an audition because Ed Harris. He's not really auditioning at this point. But he showed up with the long extensions. And if you go and watch this movie, he does have these greasy, long extensions in his hair. And they do look rather ridiculous. But you have to remember, and I didn't mention this, if you didn't know by the music, and you probably wouldn't know from this song, but the movie does take place in the 80s. So, Rose Glass liked the extensions so much that she asked him to keep them in the film. Now, I don't know why he showed up with these extensions. Maybe he was just trying to play a joke or, be fun, and, things like that. But regardless of that, they are in the film, and that is exactly what he's wearing throughout through these exact extensions. And they do fit his character very well. So I didn't realize that they were just part of an additional add-on, and not originally in the screenplay or in the thought of the film, until I went back and did some research of this movie. Now, Katie O'Brien, she plays Jackie in the film, and she does play a bodybuilder. She's pumping iron, and she's doing a good job. She is buff, and she is somebody that I would not want to cross paths with at all. But she happened to be a competitive bodybuilder in real life also, not just in this film, in real life as well, which is kind of cool. And, I was thinking that when watching this, I was like, there's no way, honestly, unless she could do the character actor thing and go full method and, gain all this weight with muscle training and everything, which is very possible. And I would go all in on that if I had the opportunity to do that. But by looking at the way she's sculpted, I did have a feeling just by watching that she's probably done this as a career or competitively at some point in her life. And come to find out she did. Now, Jackie's hairstyle is inspired by Jennifer Beals' hairstyle in the movie Flashdance. Also, I think Jennifer Lopez tries to emulate that hairstyle in one of her music videos as well. Like I said, I stand corrected. I said this was her third feature. This is Rose Glass's second feature after her debut being Maude in 2019. And there's a funny little Ed Harris and Jenna Malone connection in that Ed Harris and Jenna Malone also played father and daughter in the Julia Roberts, Susan Sarandon movie Stepmother. Oh, Stepmom, not Stepmother. Which I haven't seen. It never really seemed to be a movie that I would want to watch. But it's out there. Also, the film began test screening in February 2023. The audience was recorded to have visceral reactions to the gore, blood, and the puking scenes. And after watching this, I would concur. I felt kind of that way also. The budget, I searched high and low trying to find the exact budget for this movie. A couple of different sites were saying in the $2 to $3 million range. And going by Rose Glass's other films, this is an A24 production. And this is also a independent film. It seems fitting that the budget would be anywhere between $2 to $3 million, maybe even $5 million. It made $8.3 million in the United States and a worldwide gross of $12.5 million. Rotten Tomatoes has this at a high 94%. Audience score is 82% and on IMDb is 6.7. So it is a rather well-liked film. But it's a very interesting film. And we're going to get into this in just right now. So really, the plot and the story, I don't want to we've been doing a lot of newer movies lately, so I don't want to extremely put a lot of spoilers in here, because if you do decide to go down this journey of this movie, I don't want to give things away for you. And there's not really a lot of spoilers that I could give per se, but it's more of my reaction to some of the scenes, which I will discuss. So the plot in the story is basically the gym manager Lou falls for Jackie, a bodybuilder who's passing through. But the complications come with Lou's sister, Beth, who is in an abusive relationship with JJ, played by Dave Franco. So Beth refuses to press any kind of charges against JJ for assaulting and abusing her. And this has been going on year after year after year. And her father doesn't step in because he's like, she won't get divorced. She doesn't want him in jail. What can we do? And then Lou is like, he is going to kill her if he continues to beat her, because he has put her in the hospital. And he puts her in the hospital. JJ puts Beth into the hospital, which kind of sets things in motion, so to speak. Because you've got this, this kind of these two people coming together, in the gym manager and the bodybuilder, but that kind of leads itself to this other situation. So Jackie, during this time of trying to bulk up en route to this competition in Las Vegas, takes steroids and things that she shouldn't put into her body to try to enhance the muscles, give her an edge in the competition. And that's why she does it. But within the parameters of what she's done, she begins to develop more roid rage. And the rage is bubbling and boiling inside of her. And she sees the distress that JJ has caused not only Beth by putting her into the hospital, but also the distress that is put on who she loves, Lou. And she doesn't want to see Lou feel this way. And she doesn't want Lou, the person that she loves, to have to go through any of this kind of stuff. And she knows, just from what Lou has told her, that Beth will not survive another attack. So what does Jackie do? Jackie goes over and not only confronts JJ, but ends up killing JJ. Now, everyone is going to be blaming Lou. And Lou has a strain, kind of estranged from her father. Because her father, I failed to mention this, but her father owns the gym that she manages. So, it is kind of, I guess she's trying, and apparently he is a nefarious character and has done a lot of these, shady kind of dealings from the past. So they kind of live in the, kind of like Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico. I think it was in New Mexico. Is kind of the landscape-ish that you see, and within these canyons, who knows how deep they are? 50, 100, 200 yards, feet. Who knows? Miles. They end up dumping JJ's body into this mountaintop area to try to not hide it per se, because they put his vehicle there and set it on fire. Lou sets it on fire, and Jackie's like, why would you do that? They're going to see the smoke from town. They're going to be coming up here, and they're going to find out that he's down there. And Lou is like, listen, not only are they going to find out that he's down there, they're going to find out everything that my father has done, because it's all the nefarious misdeeds and crimes that he's committed are down there as well. Because her father isn't Mr. Clean. And that's part of the reason that Lou has such a problem with him. So, as this transpires, there's a whole heap of trouble and can of worms that are opened. And I'm not going to spoil the third act of the film, because I really haven't spoiled anything. You can get this on Wikipedia, so to speak. But the third act of the film, it does take a drastic turn. And there is some of the cringes and some of the nausea and some of the visceral reactions that a lot of the audience was getting happens within that second and primarily third act. So I'm going to let the viewer, you all, decide on how you all feel, and if you're going to dive in and check that out. And if you do, please come back and comment and let me know what you think. The characters, like I mentioned, we've got Ed Harris, we've got Lou, Jackie, Beth, and JJ, and I think everyone does a great job. Kristen Stewart has proved not only to herself, but any person that was a naysayer that she was not an actual actress after the Twilight, because let's face it, that didn't you just needed to look the part in that. And that wasn't a part for acting abilities. That wasn't a well-acted movie by anyone. It was fair. It was decent, but it wasn't a well-acted movie. But in this movie, and I've not seen many Kristen Stewart movies. American Ultra was a movie that I'd seen her and Jesse Eisenberg, which is actually, she does a fantastic job. There's an underwater ocean movie that she's in. I'm not. It might be called Underwater or something like that. Underneath, or it came out during the COVID times on streaming, and I heard it's very underrated and very good. I haven't watched it, and I've seen her in this, and her acting in this is amazing. She is a fantastic actress. She does a great job with the material given, and she slides into her role perfectly as Lou. Katie O'Brien, I'd never seen her in anything else. This is the first time I've seen her. And like I said, if she was a competitive bodybuilder and now she's turned into an actress, she does a great job as well. And that's kind of, if you've noticed, a lot of times when people are in other fields, they kind of segue into movies by playing a character similar to, their other job. Whitney Houston segueing into The Bodyguard, the actress role, being a singer in that movie. Marion Crane, I think. Or Marion. I don't think Crane was her last name, but Marion. And then you've got Dolly Parton kind of... now, she segued a little bit different because I think she had 9 to 5, but she also had like the Burt Reynolds movie, Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, and things like that, which not only displayed her acting, but also her singing abilities. You had Mariah Carey tried to do it with Glitter, which it didn't work at all. But you have these things, and this seemed to be the case for Katie O'Brien. She's a competitive bodybuilder in real life. So one of her first roles, as far as I know, is segueing into the acting world with a strong supporting cast around her while doing a fantastic job herself. Jenna Malone, I primarily know her through Donnie Darko. She plays Donnie's girlfriend, and she is also in the movie Save, starring Macaulay Culkin, and she does a great job as Beth. She'd aged quite a bit, which had been a while since those last movies, about 18 years, I guess, since I'd seen her in anything new. And it's kind of weird. I was talking today about, when was the last time, like when you have a certain actor or actress or musician or even a friend in real life, when you have them imprinted in your mind, but you might have a certain version or a certain age imprinted in your mind of them. I was speaking of Kevin Smith earlier, saying, Kevin Smith now, he's lost quite a bit of weight. He's a vegetarian now. He doesn't smoke pot and things like that. But in my mind, it's the Kevin Smith of probably, early 2000s. That's the one that's in my mind. So that's kind of the same thing as with Jenna Malone. She's come a ways as an actress, but she's always been great. But she does a fantastic job as Beth in this film. And Dave Franco, I've seen him in a few other things. Primarily The Disaster Artist, I think. And maybe a scene in one of those Zac Efron, Seth Rogen house party movies, whatever it's called. He does a good job in this because you do not like him in this movie. You do not feel bad for what gets done to him. I don't feel bad about it at all. And you won't either. He gets what's due to him. Even actually probably more, but it's well deserved. And if you can make the audience dislike you as a character that much, then you do a good job. So the cast, Ed Harris does a great job as always. I think the cast of characters were really good. Favorite scene, least favorite scene. That's a tough one. Because this was a movie that made me feel uncomfortable due to some of these bodybuilding aspects and the fact that she was abusing the drugs that she was abusing, steroids being primarily what it was, and using needles and things, and that always gives me kind of a queasy, uneasy feeling within, and that was no different within this movie. I don't know, one of my favorite scenes, I did like the cinematography. I did like the landscape. I like the lenses they used. The coloring looked great. The visuals were amazing. Like I said, the acting was really good. But one scene that really made me turn away, to be honest, was when she actually gets, spoiler, during the competition, she's doing, it's her turn of the competition. And she ends up getting sick during this, and she ends up vomiting up on stage in front of everyone. And not only does she do that, she's having some type of a hallucination as well, so she starts beating the heck out of some of the other contestants. So that was one of my least favorite scenes in the movie. Now, it was a necessary scene, yes, but it was one of my least favorite scenes in the movie. The score and the music, it's kind of 80s related. Like, this song is not, but this song is on there. Let's go to, I think the soundtrack, the score was, I think it fits great. It complements one another. And when a movie can do that, it's usually I'm not saying it doesn't always have to be a great story, but it helps a lot. And there's like a lot of 70s and 80s, I thought it was a good soundtrack. And it's got some of the retro things as we played in the opening as well. So originality, I got to be honest. This movie was pretty original. The premise doesn't sound all that original, but the way in which it's told, with this bodybuilder background, really adds something that I wasn't expecting. It kind of really added a depth and a good supporting foundation for a good story. It was well insulated, the story, with this bodybuilding aspect that I would never honestly think that I would enjoy. But it worked well. It did work well. The poster, now there are many, many different posters for Love Lies Bleeding. The poster that I used, it's just a shot of Kristen Stewart from the nose down. She's got a sleeveless shirt on and some jeans with some blood on her neck, on her face, on her arms, on her shirt. But there were countless, at least 9 to 10 different posters. And I thought they were good posters. Some weren't really were to my taste. But they did get the idea of what the movie's about. And the coloring and the lettering and the font. And just the way the picture was taken, I thought the posters, I thought they did a good job. I really did. Would you recommend this movie? Why or why not? I mean, I don't know. I would say, is it a movie that I would watch again? I do study film. So, yeah, I would probably watch this movie again. And I would watch it again with knowing going in exactly what it's about, but focusing more on the little things that I might have overlooked, and maybe not turning away at certain scenes. Like the scene that I described as my least favorite scene. I wasn't describing it as my least favorite scene because it's bad. It was difficult to watch. It did move the plot forward, and the scene was necessary for what comes after it. There's no doubt about that. But for me personally, I did have to turn away. But I'm squeamish and get nauseated easily and have a very weak stomach, and I do pass out and things like that. So, I'm a little on the pansy side of things. I do realize that. But that being said, this would be a movie that, if you're looking for something different, if you're looking for something that you're going to have to pay attention to, and this is not a background, I mean, I guess any movie can be a background movie, but this is not a background movie per se, especially if you want to experience it. This is a movie that you will experience, and I'm not going to say you're going to walk away with a nice, clean feeling from it, because you're not. I felt, honestly, like I felt today, like, it was, 88 to 90 degrees today. And my vehicle, the air conditioning has not been working. Well, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But after I got out of the vehicle, my back was drenched with sweat I often wear gray. Those watching can see I have a gray shirt. But often I wear gray. But I was drenched through the back, and I felt I needed a shower when I got out of the vehicle. And that's kind of how I felt after watching Love Lies Bleeding, is that I needed a shower to clean the palate, to clean myself, because it's a sweaty kind of movie. It's got that sweaty glisten to it. And that's not for everyone. And it's a hard watch for some people. But when you go into this movie knowing that you're wanting to experience something different, whether that be an experience of, I really like the direction of that, I never want to see that again, it's not a waste of your time. I will say that. Especially if you really like to experience and dive into movies that are uncharted territory. Now, if you're looking for a cookie cutter movie or a blockbuster, like I said, Twisters, that was a great blockbuster. That's what it's there for. You know what it's set out to do. You know first, second, third act, exactly how it's going to go. You can go to the bathroom, come back, you've not missed. That's not Love Lies Bleeding. and this is not a movie that everyone. I'm actually surprised, to be honest with you, that the audience score was as high as it was at 82%. I really am. And it might not be for you. But I'm saying I'm going to give it, go ahead and watch it, and you will know within the first 10 minutes, yes, I'm going to continue with this. No, I'm not going to continue with this. But I will say I value my time almost more than anything. Not anything as far as people, but as far as things go. And I didn't feel that I wasted my time at all. So take it as you will. So thank you for tuning in to Real Talk. Next week, I think we're going to be diving in. I think Jeremiah and Amber. Actually, no. Next week, Jeremiah and Amber will probably be in for Trap. But we have Tyler Payne is going to be on next week. That's going to be a fun show. He's got... I don't want to give away whatever he may be talking about. I do have an idea, but it's always great when he comes on. It's always fun, interesting, and you don't know what you're going to get. And it's always a better color scheme when he's here because he has some great lights coming in. And then I think in Real Talk we will be doing Trap. And then the following week, possibly either Pet Sematary. Yeah, we'll probably do Pet Sematary after that. And then the following week after that, maybe Single White Female. Not 100% sure on that, but we have a lot of great movies coming up and a lot of great guests and things coming. Stephen Murray, like I said at the very beginning, you might be able to pre-order his album. It is called Rituals, and it's a good album. I've listened to it a couple, probably the past month. I played a song or two a few weeks ago. He will be in the future, and I guess that's all I need to say tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. Please go to all the Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, The Other People's Show. And speaking of The Other People's Show, that is about to begin in just a moment.